Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for October 18th through the 24th, 2021. So, before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back this week, and also welcome anyone who's new to the Angel School community and our channel here on YouTube. In the description area below the video, there are some links to my Facebook page, as well as my Twitter account. So if you just are looking for other ways to access the information, my services, all that information is there, as well as my website, which is theangelschool.com/services. And I am still continuing the special angel reading offer for my half-hour reading of $77, which the special offer extends it to 1 full hour. So if you have been feeling called to have a reading with me, you would go to that webpage, theangelschool.com/services, and you would select the half-hour reading as is. And within 24 hours on the first business day, I will send you a confirmation email noting the special offer for 1 full hour. And everything that you need is there to set up the reading. There are instructions there to guide you to be able to submit your availability for the reading. I just ask, as we're getting to the close, so the 18th I think is the last day of Mercury retrograde, and there's usually like a little period, shadow period, post shadow period. So even that now, before Mercury retrograde, I've been noticing the emails and things kind of being off a bit. So make sure you email me back immediately, letting me know that you received the confirmation email. If you cannot reach me, you can reach me through my Facebook page account. You can DM me there. And I just have to say, like, I can't, do extended chats because of time and work. But if it's definitely something where we're not getting, our communications aren't working out, then definitely reach me there. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. And there's something else, and I hate to bring it up, but I just want to put it out there, because it's been happening on social media a lot lately for some reason, where readers' accounts are being copied. It's happening on Instagram. But just in case, someone years ago told me that someone was copying my channel here on YouTube and putting it out somewhere in other countries. And if that's happening or has happened, I didn't realize what people were doing, but it seems like now what they're doing is DMing you and asking you to sign up for a reading with them. That is something I will never do, because I really believe that the only people that I should work with are the people who contact me because they feel the call to do so. I put it out there that I'm offering a reading, like on this channel, but I would, or any platform I might say I'm offering readings, but I would do it in general to everyone. I would never contact you through an email or a DM on your social media accounts, because number one, I don't really have the time to sort of search around for all of your accounts and figure out how I could possibly make a connection with you. I just have never liked selling things to people, and definitely I'm not going to walk up to you and ask you through a social media platform. So if you have ever, had someone approach you, I don't think it's happened here, but I just want to put that out there, since it's been a lot of other readers have been having problems and mentioning it and making sort of these announcements to their followers and viewers. So you will always have to approach me, because it's the only way that I feel it's appropriate, not for all the ethical reasons, but for my own personal reasons. I have to accept, because actually, it's intimidating doing this work, and I've gotten really comfortable with it now. But sometimes there are readings that come to me that I'm like, oh, that's going to be, can I do that? There's always that thought, and then I always rely on the fact that they wouldn't come to me unless, the universe knew that we, that our coming together would be of help to you. And so I always, rely on that wisdom and connection. Okay, so let's take a deep breath now, and I'm just going to ask you to clear your mind as best you can, and to set aside this time and space to really be present with your I am presence. And that you just center your attention on your heart chakra. And take a deep breath. And breathe out. And just allow yourself to go within and see a brilliant, warm, golden light just radiating within you, within your heart space. And feel it expand all around you as it's welcoming you in and inviting you into yourself, into your alignment with Source and your I am presence. And be aware of the enormous love, agape is the word they're writing. This universal consciousness. And feel the joy. And continue to breathe and relax. And for a moment, see yourself kneeling or sitting in a lotus position, whatever feels appropriate for you. And at the threshold of this enormous golden light, release or offer prayers or send, however it feels appropriate to you, your concerns, your gratitude, your love, your fears. Just rest in that space. Rest at that threshold. And as you entrust and have faith, your offerings of your heart, you feel this agape love envelop you. As it invites you into the cosmic heart. And pay attention to any guidance that you feel or perceive within your mind, your divine mind. Feel the power, the authority of your higher self as it has transcendent choices that will allow you to have resolution. Be aware of the transcendent choice, that third option that you haven't allowed yourself to welcome or realize. And they ask you to do this often during the week, to start your day off this way. And they also are asking you to pay attention to your body's wisdom and pay attention to the messages that your body is giving you. They're showing me someone with a cast over their ankle, so the foot, ankle, and the upper, there's a cast, so it's, it goes up kind of high. And they want you might be experiencing, you might have this experience or some other experience that is physically disabling you in some way. And they're saying that this is something you've dealt with in the past. And they're wanting you to really acknowledge what it is that's behind this for you. So the cast represents some kind of structure or support that you need to help things to set in your life, and you've not been nurturing or you've been neglecting, and you need to, when they show me a bra, it's like that means you need to nurture, but you also need to put up boundaries. Okay, so there's some lack of boundaries, and so what's happening with the bra and the breast is like nurturing, and the bra is sort of boundaries. And so it's telling me this is a symbol in total for me of self-care and not having enough boundaries around your own self-care, that you allow other things or outside of you or other people's problems to override your own needs, and especially as it pertains to the boundaries that you need to have. And they're writing, you make too many exemptions. And I think it's because you're not clear enough. And you're not honoring, you don't feel that your own boundaries are worthy. So somehow that you don't feel worthy enough to feel comfortable making boundaries. And it goes back again, and we've been talking about this a lot over the past weeks. They've been bringing this up about intention setting. And one of the things that occurred for me, again, as I told you before, is that they also, like I would have the idea in my head, but they wanted me to be specific. And the way to do that was to put it down. And when I wrote out my intention, then it was, okay, well, what does that look like? So you got this intention, let's say, and an intention to me is something like freedom or peace, something very general. And then you have to get it to be more specific by first coming up with, what does this look like in my life in general? And then go the next step for whatever you have for that day and say, well, what will this look like in this situation? So step one is to come up with a general word of intention. And then step two would be, what does this look like in my life in general? And then step three is, what will this look like in this situation the situations in my life today? And then writing out the word alignment. As you do this, you're going to automatically draw towards you alignment. And that's what happened when that roommate just showed up. The perfect roommate showed up the next day. The first person, there was somebody who was supposed to come before, but that person canceled. She was the first, and she was really the only one. Everybody else fell away. And it was interesting because I could notice that would be a waste of my time. And that's something else that we don't acknowledge. Like, we get these intuitive hits and we're afraid to rely on our intuition because we're thinking we're going to miss out on something. Maybe it's that FOMO stuff, that causes us not to be able to really trust our intuition. Because our intuition, I don't know what that, intuition and fruition, I think that's what that was. Okay, interesting. Our intuition, when it focuses, it then also clarifies and then it kind of removes everything else. And we're afraid to remove everything else because we're going to miss out on something. Well, what if? Well, honey, we can what if forever. The ego can do that in an infinitesimal way. You'll be going for days and you'll be sitting there what ifing, and how many what ifs have you followed into infinite distraction, meaning things that have never gotten done. So stop with the what ifs. Okay? Because when you get into intuition and when you get into the realm of spirit, and when you're dealing with God, there is no what if. There is clear knowing, and that clear knowing is based on the clear knowing that God has for you is based on the culmination of everything that you've done up to that point. And that clear knowing is what's best for you based on who you are. So it counts for your doubts and your fears and your hopes and your aspirations and your ambition. It counts for the full spectrum of the whole picture, but it offers you this clear knowing of what is possible from where you stand in the conditions that you stand in this moment to where you want to go, but it calculates for you the alignment of what would allow you to go with the least amount of resistance, with the least amount of triggers that would trigger your resistance to the path or the goal that you would like to achieve. So then the third or the fourth step, because I'm going to forget the numbers because I didn't plan this out and I'm just getting it from them now, I think it's 4, would be then to be aware of what are the challenges or the triggers that would pop up or crop up for you around this intention setting. Because your ego is still going to be there, ready to kind of like, crash the party. And so you need to be prepared for that. Let's see if I can remember. So first is that general intention. Then the second is, and so I'm going to forget. The second is to, what is your intention for the day? Meaning, so the general intention, like freedom, and then how would this look, number 2, in your life in general. Then 3 is how would this look in your life today, depending on the different situations that you have. And now 4 is to not be scared, but prepared, right? And so this is, okay, what are the challenges or triggers that I might have to be aware, that I need to be aware of, so that I don't fall into those traps? With me? I remembered. Because, our ego doesn't want to remember things that are good for us. Because it's not evil, it's just scared. That's where all of our fear comes from. And it will come across as like, like I love when it's suspicious. And then it taps, when we're suspicious, we use all of our, it uses all of our intelligence so that it makes our suspicions valid. And so we spend all of our time being suspicious. And guidance would divine guidance would give you a sense that this is not right for you. And then, and ask you to just focus on what is right for you. So, okay, we made you aware that that's not going to probably be the best thing for you. So here's the right thing for you. But what the ego will do is conjure suspicion, and then you get trapped in that. And you keep spinning it, and what if, and then what if that, and and what if that, and this, and so on. And then you're just doing that. And then you manifest it. You manifest all kinds of suspicious scenarios around you. And now, guess what is the end result? I don't trust the world. I don't trust you. Or, I don't trust my husband now. I don't trust my child. I don't trust my boss. I don't trust my colleagues. Everybody's trying to sabotage you because you went with that ego. The intuition, divine guidance doesn't judge. It enlightens, it sheds light, and then you are supposed to use that information and then stop and then move to where intuition is inspiring you and fueling you with energy. And then be about the business of the divine in that way. Okay, so let's take a look, because I feel like I just want to talk about this. All right, so Archangel Raphael is the archangel that we're working with this week. And yeah, this definitely is a healthy lifestyle approach in a way. What we've just talked about. We just looked at how to approach situations so that we are not getting stuck in this inconclusive sort of loophole, which is what the ego is. It's illusion and it's endless cycles that go nowhere. Now, this card, Archangel Raphael says, eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. And these are things of the self-care boundaries that we do not honor. And when any of these components are not in harmony, then everything else is thrown off. You will then be prone to your ego's way of thinking and perceiving. It will deteriorate healthy ideas. It will erode them, corrode them. Healthy ideas, healthy mindset, healthy beliefs. You can't maintain these things if these things are off: diet, sleep, or exercise. I had started to develop a twitch in my cheek because, I haven't been sleeping well this year and, kind of resisting going to sleep. And so, and one of the things was that job search really sort of escalated it. I think there's another word, but that's one for now. And exacerbated the sleep problem. And so my neurologist was like, da 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 da. And of course, B was, I'm not getting enough sleep. So I've noticed it start to go away. So it just throws things off. And so if we want to be spiritually fit as we go through the ascension process, we really have to pay attention to those boundaries, self-care boundaries, that we need to honor. Okay? And so this just gives us a clue as to what the angels are maybe referring to for you around self-care boundaries. Wait. I'm scared now because I don't know if all these cards are upside down because I didn't even check to see which way I put the deck. Okay, I gotta, I think, yeah, every card is upside down. That's unlikely. I think I turned the deck because, all right. So I'm gonna turn it right side up because I think I usually don't have reversals unless they happen by accident. I let them happen. I don't put them in purposely, but all the cards are reversed. But this card, well, I'll just go ahead and turn them all around. As you'll see, the Hangman is here. I don't usually do it this way, but we're gonna have to because I put them upside down by mistake. Okay, so it's interesting because the Hangman I had an experience with in using in my own personal daily card message, and it was this idea of what would the world be like if the other cards suddenly stumbled into the Hangman's reality, where everything is upside down, okay? And how would that affect the other cards in that perspective? So in a way, every card has been. So in a way, this is interesting that these cards did, but I didn't put them the right side way. So I'm gonna play with that a little bit in the reading. But so we start off with the Queen of Wands, and then we do have the Hangman. We also have the High Priestess here card, and the reversals are, for me, about this internal process that we need to pay attention to. So when the cards are right side up, it's about the outside, the reality, a process that's going on around us, right? And so when the cards are reversed, it's about looking at the card, the energy of that card, as something that we need to work on internally within ourselves. This is one way of looking at it. Um, and so the Queen of Wands is normally someone who is full of energy. She's feisty. She is fully in her power. Of all the queens, she definitely is. I always think of her as just someone who has no inhibitions. And so we might want to look at in this week, where are we not, where are we not letting ourselves be fully who we are or what we're capable of being? And is there a reason that you've allowed yourself to get into a position where you've put on the restraints, you've restrained yourself? You know, she's very bright and very smart. And just speaking now as a, you know, and of course these cards can represent males as well as females. But are you holding back because to, you know, present that brilliance would make a lot of other people uncomfortable, especially if you're a woman? Does this make, you know, the men around you uncomfortable? And so you have to sort of restrain that in order to not rock the boat. And it's going to be the same thing for a male. It's just different. There are different factors that would make you choose to, or to maybe, you know, feel like you don't want to rock the boat, maybe because it's someone older, or and you're, you know, you could be younger, or you just have had certain insecurities that you've grown up with throughout your life, that, you know, holds you back from really saying your piece and showing the exemplary abilities and talents that you have, because this is a card of someone with exemplary talent and abilities and skill, and so what's keeping you from unleashing all of this creativity, all of this intelligence and brilliance? Okay. And so imagine what would be the reason, and maybe there's something in your life, maybe you're feeling like your creativity is blocked. Okay. And what happens when you enter the Hangman's world? What do you see? What are the effects of you allowing yourself to be inhibited, and how is this affecting your world? Let's say you're in your career, or in your home, your family, when you are stepping back all the time and letting people with less skill and intelligence do all the talking and run the show. Like the universe, you may be feeling blocked or having a sense of this, so the universe wants you to see that what you're doing and how it's not really helping you. And the thing about it is, the Hangman has this sun around its, like, halo around its head, because it's like you're stuck there until you get it, until you have that aha moment. And that's what I feel the Hangman card is about, and what reversals are about, is to hold you, because you're doing something and you're doing it unconsciously, and you can do it until, right? So you can function until you no longer are functioning. And so when you're no longer functioning, then what people usually start to do is scramble and resist and create more chaos. And you feel like you just can't move. It's like, if you think about the hangman as following justice, it's like, okay, where they put you away until you know, acknowledge what you've done wrong. And in a more compassionate view, this is what's kind of going on. They that that you won't feel like you're functioning until you have this aha moment. And that means that you got to change. There's a perspective that needs to be changed. And so in terms of, self-care, boundaries, um, you may need to sort of integrate this in terms of your own reflection, um, so that you can have that. Think about, what would it be? What would my life look like if I set clear boundaries and if I honored them? Is it gonna, because your ego's got this one story that's telling you everybody's gonna, maybe there'll be backlash, people will do this or do that, creates all these horrific scenarios. And what the hangman would ask you to do is have this real talk with the universe, that transcendent awareness, and what would really go on. How would things really function if you used your talent, if you spoke up, or if you unleashed your brilliance, if you allowed it to function? See it all the way through so that you can get that shift in perspective so that you don't repeat this. I want to say, because it's almost like karma, until you get on your path of alignment, you're cycling. So it's like karma, and you'll just keep having all these really terrible lessons pop up, to try to get you to wake up and stop doing that. Okay? And then we have the high priestess. So, reinforcing this going within and really reflecting and getting clarity from your intuition, this trust. So this tells me that you've stopped trusting your intuition. And they're writing yes, yes, yes. And the thing about it is, they're writing oxygen. You need to breathe. So every time a roadblock comes up, you panic. You don't breathe. When you don't breathe, you leave yourself stranded in the hangman's world. You leave yourself stranded in the ego's reality. The hangman isn't the ego. The hangman is sort of the get me out of jail card to your ego. Pause, breathe, hang out. Look for the other transcendent choices and options. Come on, man. Don't keep, if these things aren't adding up, then stop with that math equation and find something new. Come up with new, look for other things that you haven't thought of yet. And so this sense is that you really need to be aware, observe, but trust your intuition. And we talked about that a little bit, that the way to go about that. Your intuition will not judge. It will not use suspicion. It will simply give you a feeling or sense that this is not the best situation for you, and will have an inspired idea on hand that you need to pay attention to and give yourself over to and pursue it. Don't get stuck in the cycles of suspicion and doubt. Okay? Now, the card I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck is the Moon card, which was also turned upside down. So that's why I know all of these cards can't be reversal. But it's the reason why I'm reading the Queen of Wands as a reversal, because the Hangman was here. And I don't think it was by accident that I didn't notice that my deck was upside down. So we have this moon card, and so this is telling you that why you're here is because there's something that you have not looked at. There's something deep in the waters of your subconscious that triggers this disabling of your brilliance and this power, this fight of spirit. It's almost like you've stopped fighting. You've lost that fight of spirit. And you may say, I'm doing stuff all the time. But I notice, and have you ever thought about back to when you were 18, 17, when you were applying to college and your whole life was ahead of you and you were making that choice? I can tell you from my own experience, and maybe your experience is different, but I was fearless. I chose, my mom couldn't afford to put me through college at all. And I knew that from the age of 2 or 3 years old. As African American, my mother told us 2, 3 years old that the world wasn't going to be fair because of the color of my skin. I had to work 20 times as hard. Then she told us, and we had this discussion every week, that she couldn't afford to put us through school because she was a single mom and she wouldn't have the money. And she told us you can either go in the military, you can get a hardworking job, and I just won't mention the one that she told us because when I was telling my students my first year teaching this, they got offended. So, because it's unfortunate that we have jobs that we look upon as being less than because of the way we pay, and we really shouldn't pay that way anyway, but I'm not going to get into that. And then the last option was to go to college. And so we always said, because I didn't want to go to military, I didn't want to do the other thing. And so I was like, okay, we're going to college. She's like, yeah, mama, we're going to go to college. Yeah, mama. All right. Every Friday we went through this. And, wow, the trigger, I forgot what I was talking about. But the reason, it'll come back to me why I got into all of this. But the thing is that we were always, what I remember, so when I got to that point, when I was in school, I knew that I had to get good grades, which really started for me in 7th grade when I had a different teacher for every subject. It was like, okay, light bulb, because they each had their own passion. And so I was motivated, self-motivated as a student because of those conversations. And I knew my future was in my hand. And I made choices to go to these schools without even flinching about the consequences of, paying all the student loans back, which I still have, and all that kind of stuff, right? But I've noticed that once I got out of college, that fight went away. That total trust in my choices, the world. And my grandparents used to say, young man go venture, old man hold what you got. And you have that venture spirit when you're young, and as you get older and you get things and you have responsibilities, that fight is killed by those things. And what is that that's killing it? Change. Because change, what creates a sense of resistance when you're older about being adventurous, is because you have a lot of stuff and a lot of responsibilities. And change is a constant, no matter what age we are in our lives or where we're at in our lives. Change is always a constant, and it's a must in order for things to come to fruition. And we resist our intuition because of this process, because of the attachments. They weigh our intuition down. They weigh down our expression of ourselves because we don't want to put ourselves out of our comfort zones, right? I mean, we have these official capacities in our careers, and if we said this or said that, the wrong moment, the wrong time, we could be out of our comforts. And so we become less feisty. And so you might be very successful, and some of us not, but everyone is compromised in this way. Our boundaries, our self-care boundaries are compromised around because of the stuff and the responsibilities and the comforts we have. And we lose that feistiness. And I'm not telling you to just throw caution to the wind 100%, but I think we put more pressure on ourselves than is actually necessary. And so what is that trigger? And a lot has been going on in this past month, and this is the month of that turning point, right? The Wheel of Fortune was our card for the month, and this whole idea of the turning point. And they're trying to get at something here. They're trying to get your spirit, the fight back in your spirit, the passion, the unbridled passion, right? They're trying to get you back. You know, you can light the flame as high as you want in front of you, but you will always do what's appropriate for you. But if you don't have one in front of you, you won't do what's appropriate for you at all. But the flame, you may not go all the way there. That might not be appropriate for you. But your higher self holds it there in order to bring you towards where the potential that's ripe and right for you at this moment. And they want you to be aware of how you doubt your intuition that kind of hangs you up. And so therefore the hanged man. This is really like a hangman reading and putting us in a hangman reality and really asking us to see this, that some of us are going to struggle with, because you're going to say, well, I'm not that because I have this and this and that and this and that, and this doesn't apply to me. But yes, it does. Nobody's exempt from this, no matter how little you have or how much you have. And I mean little in terms of stuff as well as success, because those are two different things, but it still runs across the board. All right, so this is going to be a week self-care, self-reflection, and a card that I pulled from my Kyle Gray Angel Guide deck, which is this is work you have to do. The card says, do the work. I hate that card. Do the work. You know, it came up like several days in a row, like almost every day one. I was like, ugh, go away. But I did the work. And it really was incredible, the things that opened up for me in terms of my singing especially, because I made connections to wounds that I didn't realize that were still there. So this can be a very successful week on a spiritual level for you that can create that turning point so that you really manifest the fortune that's available to you. And the fortune, I mean more than just stuff, but we're talking about the full balance of you. We're talking about a healthy lifestyle. That's the achievement in this month. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful week.